Hi everyone. This is Mew Moo from Susan's family. Today, I'll teach you how to make a single carnation. Let's take a look at the finished product. A single carnation consists of a flower and leaves. First, crochet the flower and the leaves separately. Then assemble them together. Here, the flower is made up of two parts, the calyx and the petals. Start by crocheting the calyx. After completing, switch colors to crochet the petals. The calyx is crocheted in rounds using the magic ring technique. The stitches used include chains, single crochets, HDC 2 puff stitch, and slip stitches. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crochet method. Before starting to crochet, let's learn the proper posture for crocheting. Here, for convenience in watching, I will use thicker yarn for the demonstration. Colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. First, we start with a magic ring. Begin by leaving about 10 centimeters of yarn tail. Pick up the yarn with your right hand and wrap it twice around your left index finger. Now there are 3 strands of yarn on your index finger. Use the thumb and index finger of your right hand to pinch where the loops overlap and take it out. Then wrap the tail end around your left little finger once and pass it through between your middle finger and index finger. Transfer the loop to between your left middle finger and thumb. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand and insert it into the loop. Put the hook on the left side of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Draw the yarn through. Now there is 1 loop on the hook. Continue with 1 chain to secure. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. 1 chain is now complete. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like when the adjustable magic ring is done. Start with the first round. First, make 1 chain. This will serve as the turning chain for single crochet. Yarn over, draw the yarn through. The chain is now complete. Beginning chain doesn't count as a stitch. Then work the single crochets around the ring. Insert into the magic ring. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. 2 loops remain on your hook. Yarn over again. Pull through all loops on the hook. 1 single crochet is now complete. At the top right of the single crochet, there is a V shape formed by 2 strands of yarn. This is the stitch of a single crochet. 1 stitch represents 1 single crochet. Continue working downwards. Insert into the magic ring. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Yarn over again. Draw through all loops on your hook. The second single crochet is now finished. You need to work 10 single crochets in this round. Continue to complete the remaining single crochets. Then close the magic ring. You can move the completed part to the right a little. There are 2 loops in total. First, gently pull the starting tail. One of the loops will be movable. Tighten the moving loop. One loop remains. Pull the tail tight directly. This way, the loop is closed. Next, work a slip stitch into the first single crochet of this round. Finish with a slip stitch. If you do not know where the very first stitch is, you can also count back from the last stitch. It's this large braid. Insert the hook into the stitch. Draw the yarn through. Pull through all loops on the hook in once. Slip stitch completed. These two strands forming a V shape are the slip stitch chain. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch. You need to tighten it to avoid crocheting too many stitches later on. That's how you complete the first round. You can see that the texture on the right side of the piece is clearer. The texture on the wrong side is more blurred. When crocheting, always keep the right side facing yourself. Insert the hook into the center of the starting chain. Bring the starting tail of the yarn to the right side. Then move on to crochet the second round. Start with one chain. At the position of the first stitch from the previous round. Crochet one single crochet. This is where you insert the hook for the slip stitch. Continue picking up stitches and work single crochets evenly. Finish this round completely. Since you're crocheting even single crochets, the edge of the fabric will curl. Place the right side of the fabric facing yourself. Flip the curled part to the back. You can check the number of single crochets. Let's count the stitches. Finish with a slip stitch at the starting single crochet. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Pull through all loops on the hook in one go. Tighten the slip stitch. That completes the second round. The method for rounds 3 through 6 is identical to round 2. Work single crochets by picking up stitches evenly. Maintain consistency while crocheting. With the right side of the fabric facing you, you can finish them on your own. I won't demonstrate this part here. Now, let me show you a way to count rounds. On the right side of the fabric, there are raised textures as your guide. Count how many rounds of these textures there are. That indicates how many rounds have been completed. There are 6 rounds of texture now. This means 6 rounds have been crocheted. After completing the 6th round, continue with the 7th round. This round will be worked into the front loops of the previous round. Work into the front half of each stitch. A stitch looks like this, with 2 strands of yarn. The strand closer to you is the front loop. The strand farther out is the back loop. Start with 2 chains for transition. Then, on the adjacent front loop, work 1 HDC2 puff stitch. First, work 2 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over once. Insert the hook. Pull the yarn through. Slightly enlarge the loop. There are 3 loops on the hook. 1 incomplete stitch is now done. Continue with the second stitch. Yarn over once. Insert the hook into the same stitch. Pull the yarn through. The second incomplete stitch is now done. There are 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops. 1 HDC2 puff stitch is now completed. We'll call this the puff stitch from now on. Next, chain 2 as a transition. On the front loop of the left stitch, work 1 slip stitch. The slip stitch here doesn't need to be tightened. Let's consider the stitches we've already crocheted as one group. Continue with another group. Start with 2 chains for transition. Then, work 1 puff stitch on the front loop of the left stitch. First, crochet 2 incomplete half double crochets. One, 2. Yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook. The puff stitch is now done. Continue with 2 chains for transition. Work 1 slip stitch on the front loop of the left stitch. For this round, repeat picking up the front loops. Crochet this group. Continue down and finish the remaining stitches. For the last group, work a slip stitch. Crochet it into the front loop of the stitch at the joining position from the previous round. Wrap the starting chain together inside. Finally, fasten off the yarn. Start by crocheting 1 chain to secure. Leave about 5 centimeters of yarn tail before cutting. Tighten it. Weave in the yarn tail following the texture of the fabric. You can weave in a few more stitches if you like. Trim excess tail. This completes the calyx. Next, we will crochet the petals section. Take the end of the new yarn. The color scheme is random here. Make a loose knot with the yarn tail. Hang the yarn tail on the left hand. Insert the hook into the back loop of the stitch at the slip stitch position from the 6th round of the calyx. That means you have 1 strand of yarn. The stitches here are relatively small. Make sure not to insert the hook in the wrong place. Draw the loop through. Adjust the size of the loop a bit. Do not let the knot come out through the fabric piece. Start with 3 chains. These 3 chains count as 1 double crochet. Match it with the back loop below. Work 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Start with the first double crochet, yarn over once. Insert the hook. Place the yarn tail above the crochet hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. There should be 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, pass through the first 2 loops. Now there are 2 loops left. Continue to yarn over, pull through once. 1 double crochet is done. The braid on the upper right is the stitch of this double crochet. Now work the second stitch. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over on after another. Draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. Another double crochet complete. Add the turning chain. That makes 3 double crochets here. Next, in the back loop of the adjacent stitch on the left side, work 3 double crochets. Continue to work 3 double crochets in the next position. For this round, it corresponds to working 3 double crochets in each back loop. Work 3 double crochets. Continue working this way to complete the entire round. After completing, check the stitch count. Make sure there are no missed stitches. Finally, finish with a slip stitch in the starting chain. You can count from bottom to top. And find the third chain. Pick up these 2 strands of yarn. Work 1 slip stitch. Pull tight. If there are excess tails, when joining the yarn here, you can trim them off. This completes the first round. Now move on to the second round. Start with 3 chains as a turning chain. Then, in the same position as the slip stitch below, work 2 double crochets. After completing, in the left stitch, work 3 double crochets. Here, because of the starting chain picking up 2 strands for crocheting, the V shape of the adjacent stitch may not be very clear. Make sure not to skip any. Continue working 3 double crochets on the left side. This round involves picking up stitches and working 3 double crochets in each one. Repeat this process to work the entire round. Finally, end with a slip stitch in the starting chain. This completes the second round. Lastly, work the third round. Start with 1 chain as a beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the slip stitch position from the previous round. Then, chain 3 as a transition. Work a single crochet in the adjacent stitch. Chain 3 as a transition. This round consists of 1 single crochet for each stitch. Pick up stitches, and work single crochets. Between single crochets, chain 3 as a transition. Follow this method to complete the entire round. Finally, end with a slip stitch in the starting single crochet. Pull tight. Secure it with a chain. Leave a yarn tail of about 40 centimeters. Cut off. Pull tight. Thread the yarn tail into a sewing needle. Follow the texture on the wrong side. Transition to the position of the first round. You can pick up strands and make a knot. Exit the needle from one side of the first round double crochet. Insert it into the other side. Continue to come out again. Insert the needle. Sew around like this. After completing, tighten the yarn tail. Pay attention that the yarn tail must be tightened. This will make the petals gather together. You can go back and forth a few times to secure it. Then tie a few knots to fasten it in place. Tidy up the yarn tail. Now one flower is done. Next, learn the crocheting method for leaves. Let's take a look at the finished product. We will start from foundation chain. Crochet in rounds along the starting chain row. Thin wire needs to be added while crocheting. The new stitch technique used is half double crochet. CH3SL Picket. Please watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Start with a chain first. Hold the yarn tail. Hang the yarn properly on your left hand. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Place it underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. The middle finger and thumb of your left hand. Pinch the crossing point of the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Tighten it slightly. Now start crocheting chains. Adjust the size of the loop on the hook. One chain like this counts as one stitch. Continue crocheting chains. Make a total of 10 stitches. That completes the beginning chain. Now make one chain to start. Then begin working single crochets. Before you start, check that the right side of the chain looks like V-shaped braids. Locate the second chain from the left. 1, 2. Pick up the half loop on top of the chain with the hook. That is, this single strand of yarn. When crocheting, you need to add the thin wire. Place the thin wire over the hook. Start by leaving a tail of about 5 centimeters. Make one single crochet. Continue picking up the half loop from the top of the left chain braid. Correspondingly make 2 single crochets. From here on, continue picking up half loops for crocheting. Then make one half double crochet. Start with one incomplete half double crochet. Note, no need to enlarge the loop. Yarn over and draw through once. One half double crochet is done. Continue making another one half double crochet. Start with one incomplete half double crochet. Yarn over and draw through all loops again. Another half double crochet is complete. Then correspondingly make 2 half double crochets. Continue with 3 single crochets. One CH3SL Picket. Start with 3 chains. Insert the hook into the front loop of the single crochet stitch. And underneath the left yarn from below. Make a slip stitch. The CH3SL Picket is completed. Now we're at the other edge of the starting chain. On this side, locate the insertion point for the last single crochet. Work one single crochet. Pick up 2 strands of the braid and crochet. While crocheting, weave in the yarn tail and the wire together as you go. You can see these 2 single crochets worked into the same space. On this side, continue picking up 2 strands of the braid and crocheting. Continue with 2 single crochets. Work 4 half double crochets. Three single crochets. Finish with a slip stitch at the beginning single crochet. Bring both wires together. Pull tight. Leave about 10 centimeters of yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. Trim off the excess starting yarn tail. Cut the thin wire leaving a length of 5 centimeters. Tidy up slightly. And one leaf is completed. We will use the clearer texture side as the front of the leaf. After all parts are completed, it's time to assemble them. Take out the prepared flower, leaves, and one flower stem. First, insert the thicker end of the stem into the center of the magic ring, at the base of the calyx. Stop when you reach the petal sewing position. Make sure not to expose the petals yet. Wrap the starting yarn tail around the stem. Pay attention to wrapping it tight. Then take out the washi tape. Start wrapping from below the calyx. You can wrap a few extra rounds at the starting position. Then spiral down as you wrap. Tighten while wrapping. Wrap for about 3 centimeters. Add the leaf in. Twist the wire of the leaf tight first. Mind to include the yarn tails together. Place the leaf with the right side facing up. Make the thin wire close to the stem. Continue wrapping with the washi tape. Wrap all the way down to the end of the stem. Trim off the excess washi tape. This way, a carnation is completed. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.